He's got some information that's very valuable. I want you to listen to what he has to say, and I want to congratulate you. That was great. Thanks, Ted.
Hey, all right. You're here. I'm really glad that you're here, too. Welcome to the webinar, to the class, to the worldwide interwebs. We are going to have fun today, and we've got a pretty cool topic. So we'll get into that in a little bit. I think this is the part where I stall for a little bit in the beginning because people are always so late to get onto webinar. I usually get going pretty good too, but it takes me a minute to get started. I saw Louis C.K., he's a comedian. He walked out on stage, took the microphone, and he just said, "I never know how to start these things." And everybody just rolled laughing. But I get it. I feel you, Louis. So our topic for today, and you saw when you registered, it's kind of a mouthful. It's called Quantum Physics for Dummies, the 10,000-year gene, Neuroplasticity, and Brainwave Entrainment. And really the point, okay, if I had to just sum it all down to like one sentence for you, it is how you achieve the things you want in your life. So we can call it all kinds of stuff. We can call it law of attraction. We can call it manifesting. We can call it living with intention or the power of intention. And those things are all right on. And so that's where we're going. So if you want to go there, then you're in the right place. And we're going to, if you'll just take a walk with me, we're going to go, to the left and to the right, and we're going to meander. But we're going to come back to that point. And I'm hoping that you guys really get a lot out of this. So as we start here, I want you to, in the spirit of being transparent, I'm recording this on Friday, and you guys are watching the webinar on Saturday. So I'm not really talking to you right now because I did it yesterday, even though I'm doing it now. There's a thought experiment for you, but I am live on the webinar guarding the chat room. And there's a reason why I did it this way, because I usually do the webinars live. There are some videos and some screenshots and some tools that I want you to understand, things I think are going to be very helpful for you to see. And I couldn't work those things in the live format. There was some ways I could, and maybe you know more than me, and you're like, hey, you could have just blippity blip. But this is going to make it easier. And what it's going to help me do is, instead of trying to be live and to perform, I'm going to be able to be live, but be on the chat, be on the comment board, be in the chat room. So please, if you have questions, type them in there. I'm completely present for you in the chat room as you're watching this webinar right now. Unless you're watching the replay, and then I'm not there. So that's one of the benefits of being here live for it. So, you guys ready to jump in and dive in? I think really to go back to the point of this whole thing, it's about us. It's about us getting the stuff that we want. It's about us having an awesome life. I wrote in the registration page or somewhere along there about achieving greatness. And I think a lot of times greatness is awesome and we strive to do that. But we would be happy even if it was just a touch down from that a little bit. Maybe if we could have a good life. Maybe one that was free from stress and worry. A life that we get to live on our own terms. That we get to make the rules. That, when I say I want to go visit my friend in Colorado, and I'm in the United States, that I could just go do that because I am in control of my life, and that I am in control of my work and my finances and my time and the things that are important to me like that. I get to just go do them because I want to and because I love it. And that, that's me. I'm not saying that has to be you, but I do know that each and every one of you wants something. I mean, that's in our nature, right? I think that the only people that don't want something are the ones trying to prove they don't want it. Maybe just meditating on the top of a mountain in silence for years. That's cool, I'm not knocking that or anything. I'm just saying that that's the exception. So let's talk about the norm and let's talk about you. In fact, I'm not going to talk about you. I'm going to talk about me, but it's going to apply to you. So I know that you're going to be able to relate to it because we all have the same story. We really do. The people are different. The times are different. The circumstances and places, they're all a little different. But the underlying tone, the emotions, the feelings, and the meaning behind those experiences are universal for us. So I want to begin today talking about this topic of the 10,000-year gene. And I'll just tell you right off the bat the point of it. It's that our DNA, so this is why I said gene, our DNA changes by, I've read up to 1% every 10,000 years. Okay? So what this means is genetically, you right now, sitting here watching this, you are almost identical to your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, and on and on and on, or great-grandmother. Back to 10,000 years. The only difference between you and somebody 10,000 years ago in your DNA is 1% difference. And so if you think about 10,000 years from now, from where you're at, it's going to be 1% different. And the reason that this is important and why we open up with this in our conversation is that there are some rules, I guess, that you are hardwired, that you are programmed in a way that is very similar to how you were 10,000 years ago. So back then when it was hunter-gatherer, there was a mentality that you got to get what you can while you can get it. So there was no, basically it was like eat everything you can when you got it. And don't stop, like you imagine a dog or something when you give them food and they'll just keep eating and they'll gorge on it. They'll just go to town because of that primitive wiring, because of that sort of voice inside of them saying, we're in survival. We've got to get it. It's here. Let's eat it all. Let's store it. If there's any sugar, if there's any fat, let's just get it all. I got turned on to a great book by a teacher of mine, Dr. Dan Murphy. Genius, man. He turned me on to this book by Lieberman called, what was the book? The Story of the Human Body. Yeah, that's right. And in the book, Lieberman builds an amazing case for the way that we live our life right now in our modern world, basically stating that we aren't matched up to this modern world. That all of these things that are out here for us, and I'm going to talk about a lot of these things, our mind, our nervous system, our wiring, our genetics, it doesn't have the memory to cope with those things. It's not able to do that, so it's like this assault from the world giving us information and input that isn't matching with what's inside. And so when that happens, the alarm goes off, the emergency bells start to ring. We switch, okay? It's like this thing that happens where if I feel like something is wrong, like if I hear off in the distance police sirens or something along the lines, then I know something isn't right. Something is unsettling. And so physically in my body, my chemistry is going to change and I'm going to start producing stress hormones pretty much. Your subconscious nervous system, and that's kind of a cheesy way to say, it's your autonomic nervous system. I call it subconscious because it's totally below your awareness or your level of thinking. Like you're not thinking about subconscious functions. You're not thinking, hey, I need to digest food. I need to filter blood through my kidneys. It's all done as if by magic, automatically by the subconscious brain, and it's carried out and mediated through the autonomic nervous system. You don't have to know that, but I do want you to get this. There's two branches of it. One is the sympathetic nervous system. One is the parasympathetic. We're just going to call them stress mode, healing mode. So what do you think you should live in, right? In the healing mode over here. But we don't. We live right in this. We live in this constant state of perpetual stress and survival, waiting for the shoe to fall. And what I'm telling you is a lot of it has to do with this mismatch in our wiring, and basically that it's not matching the world around us. So if you want to get the things you want in life, you want to get rid of this sort of alarm all the time. It's important that you understand why you have the problem, because then you actually have the angle. You're asking the right questions. Then you can actually solve it. Let me go in a different direction. What I mean by that is, like my son. He spent the day, he's 4 years old. He spent the day with his grandmother yesterday. He's supposed to take a nap. He didn't get a nap. So that evening, he started being very temperamental, aggressive, defiant, kind of mean. He was not being himself, basically, is what I'm saying. So what somebody could do is look at that and say, oh, he's behaving a certain way. I don't like the behavior. How can I control the behavior? I could, take his toys away. I could put him in timeout. I could yell at him, maybe give him a pop on the rear end or something. If I'm focused on the problem and trying to control the sort of effects of it, I'm never going to solve it. That's what I'm basically saying. What I have to do is I have to ask the question, why does the problem exist? So if I ask that question, then I can easily go, well, the problem exists because he didn't get his nap. Okay, so I know now that the normal thing is not going to happen. He's not going to be a sweet, loving, caring, nice, wonderful boy. He's going to be short. He's going to be moody. He's going to be testy. He's going to be emotional. All of the things that, he was last night. So by me saying, why is this problem here? Like, what's causing the problem? Why is the problem here? I'm asking a different question. Okay? So the reason that I share that story with you is because if you're trying to get what you want in life, all right, you dig? Are you with me here? If you want whatever it is, like success in business or in your career, and you want to work up that ladder, or if you want recognition in your community or your social circles, or you want a certain level of fitness or health, or, whether it's money or love or happiness, it doesn't matter. I don't care what it, fill in the blank. What I'm saying is that we only get those things when we are operating in a way that is congruent with our 10,000-year gene. Okay? We have to, what I'm telling you is we have to be over here in this healing mode and out of this stress mode. Because when we're operating in this sort of stress response, everything is living for today. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we will die. There is no tomorrow. Get it while you can. Eat everything in sight. Don't leave a crumb. Who cares if we're so... like in America, you almost... like there's buffets everywhere where you can just go and eat as much as you want. Eat everything. Which, I'm not knocking buffets. It's nice to go and pick and choose. But here's the crux of it, okay? You have to be aware that this is happening. A lot of people say, too, to follow your gut and to trust your gut and it will lead you. Well, in some instances, your gut instincts, your impulses are coming from this 10,000-year-old gene. They're coming from this evolutionary hard wiring inside of you, and they're telling you, eat it all. Another great thing, too, is to bring into the equation here is like in a social setting, in a social circle, how we work together. Because we're meant to be in these small tribes. We're not meant to be isolated. So if we do kind of become introverted and hermetic and we go into our little bubble, then nature and the wiring has a way to create this change in our chemistry through dopamine that we call depression to drive us back to community, to go out and to seek out and to find people and to be around people. Now, you might be the exception to that, so, don't email me saying, I love being, locked up in the cabin all by myself. That's cool. I mean, some people, they like that for whatever reason, but what I'm saying is that you're wired to be around people. Some of the most successful marriages, the most long-lasting marriages, the happiest ones of all, the healthiest ones, they come from old childhood friends. People that have known each other for a long time. See, we live in this world where we grow up and move away, but we didn't used to do that. We used to have a community, and you grew up with people, and they were your friends, and the ones that you have gone through, the flames with, the people that you've triumphed adversity with, those are the ones that you forged those bonds with. That's what creates a bond. There's an old Girl Scout saying that says, good new friends are good, better are old. One is silver and one is gold. I think I'm butchering that. But it's basically saying get new friends, but cherish the old ones. Because there's history and you have gone through things together that you can't just mimic by going out and, meeting some new people. It's tougher when you're an adult, too. When college is over, you're pretty much done with school, if you even went to college. So now you're out in the world and you have to meet people and you have to be social and you have to find those tribes. And it's difficult for people because they're not forced in a school setting to all get along and to be together like that. Another interesting point here. Let me pause for just a second. I'm going to have to pause a few times like that, and it's just because of my camera. It only records for 20-minute intervals, so I have to hit the button again. But what I was saying is, I'm just talking about ways that we sort of go against our wiring. And it's important that we are aware of these things. So, in a social setting, we're programmed to be around people. We are at our happiest when we are that way. So there's plenty of things for you to use to reach out to people, especially nowadays. I'm sure every one of you has a smartphone with a Facebook app on it, and you can reach out to people, and you can do that stuff. I read about people that when they get into success and money, and they use that money to reconnect with old people and to bring them in, fly them in, and spend time with them, and it's a really healthy thing, and it's a great use of something like money, to be able to harmonize with your wiring. That's really what I'm getting at. See, we were meant to have these circadian rhythms and these cycles with the sun. I read a book, Animal Vegetable Miracle, that talked about certain foods are meant to be eaten at certain times of year. You're not supposed to have this, tomatoes year round. But we do because we have these supermarkets that we can just get whatever we want whenever we feel like it. But the relationship that we have with the sun and the wavelengths of those lights and the way they change from the tilt of the earth in different seasons, they impact us differently. And they impact our physiology and our digestion. And there's certain foods that we do really well with in certain seasons. And we don't do well with them out of season. So that's just another... I won't go down that rabbit trail. But I'm just bringing to light this idea that... bringing to light, no pun intended, that we are sensitive to light and we have cycles with the sun. Day and night cycles. But we live in a world now that's all light, all the time, everywhere. And if it is dark, you've got all your lights on in your house, or you got a computer screen on, or you have a television. If you have a television in the bedroom, please take it out of there. Or you have a phone or something. See, you're not wired for that. So when your body and your wiring is saying it's dark and we're supposed to not have light and we're supposed to go to sleep sometime soon, but all the lights are on, all the TV is on, and you're trying to watch TV till you get tired and fall asleep, everything in the system is going, does not compute, emergency. Okay? So you need to understand why the problem exists so that you can actually address the cause instead of trying to deal with the effects. See, people can't sleep, so they say, I need medication. They take pills to go to sleep, and they take pills to wake up. And I mean, that's the extreme, but there's some crazy statistic about average person is on 8 medications. So I say that in consultations with new patients. They sit there and I say, average person is on 8 medications. And I don't take any, so that means you're taking 16. And they usually laugh. But there's truth to it. Maybe not everyone that comes through is on 8 of them. And usually the older generations, the higher that you go up in years, the higher up the number of drugs go. But that's another conversation. I'm just trying to bring to your awareness that you're not meant to have lights on all the time, especially in the winter. When it gets dark, it's supposed to be dark. So maybe turn some lights off, or maybe turn the TV off a little bit earlier. I'm not saying you don't, ever turn your lights on or anything. A good tool that I use are blue blockers. So for, you can get them for glasses. I don't have that because I don't want, blue blockers, they block blue light, the spectrum or wavelength of blue light. But you can get them for your phone. They're free little apps you can install. You can get them I have one for my desktop computer. It's awesome. I punch in the zip code where I live, and it knows exactly when the sun comes up and goes down. And so in the evening hours, it blocks all the blue light so that it isn't stimulating my retina and sending the signal to my brain that it's daytime, daylight, bright, is blocking some of that light out, and it's me harmonizing with my 10,000-year gene. All right? So, you are wired to eat a bunch of sugar. Your sugar is like a readily edible energy for you. I don't know why I got stuck there. The brain fart. It represents brain food. And so if there's sugar there, your brain, which hogs all the sugar, is going to be like, eat that, get it all, get it while you can. Like a dog gorging on the food. Because we don't know when we're going to get the next one. And you need to know that, because if you're some of your goals are centered on fitness and weight loss maybe, or even like building muscle or tone or, flexibility, you need to be learning how to finely tune your machine. And you need to work in harmony with your physiology and your body's chemistry, so that when it comes to the point that you are living in your house and you have, soda and chips and, junk food, I'll just call it junk food, fast food even, you can't have that stuff around, because it doesn't matter how bad you want to lose weight. It doesn't matter how much willpower you have. If you've got it there, your willpower, it doesn't mean nothing. Your imagination or your 10,000-year gene, it's primal. You're like driven to do that. So if you understand that, then hey, I can't have that stuff around. I can't even have it in the house, because it will win. It will take over. It will create. It will create its own scenario. It'll create what it wants. It feels like the modern world is kind of like fighting us all the time. It's at war with us. So I wrote down there's an old prayer. It says, God grant me the patience, the courage to change the things I can, the patience to accept the things I cannot, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about being aware of the things in your life that you have control over, that you can take the reins with intention, with focus, with the power, with attraction, with magnetism, with energy, that you can influence the output. But then also having the ability to recognize the things that you can't change. You It doesn't matter how badly you want to be 10 foot tall. You can't change that. It doesn't matter how badly you want to just walk out your front door and fly away like a bird. You're not going to do that. There are laws of physics that govern those things. Everything else is kind of up for discussion. I'm not real dogmatic in my beliefs about what's right and wrong, other than there's rules to play by. That if you understand that inside of you is this DNA of a 10,000-year-old person, and that you're wired that same way, like living in this modern world is crazy. And we just don't have the capacity in our nervous system or the memory to deal with the modern world. So it's your job to understand that problem exists. And the reason that it exists is because the modern world is kind of at war with your wiring. So you need to figure out ways to live your life so that you harmonize with that wiring. That's the whole point of all of this. The only way you're going to solve a problem is to understand why it's there. Okay? So the next part we'll go into is quantum physics. Okay, quantum physics is something that is freaking cool. And it's just like scary to a lot of people. It's scary because it's physics, man. It's a lot of math. It's a lot of craziness. But I think that there's a real simplistic beauty in it. And that's what I want to share with you. We get rid of all the big words and the big equations. And I want to give you the takeaway messages from some of these experiments. So that you have a little bit of working knowledge, so that you have a bit of ability to talk around it and to understand it. The more things that you understand and increase your belief level, you raise your energy level, you increase that vibrational state or frequency. It becomes something that you didn't just hear about, but something that something that you understand in your core, and you can think around it from different angles and talk about. So that's where we're going to go. And I'm going to show you guys a video here. But before I do, I just want you to understand that quantum physics and then really quantum physics is like there's this line in the sand in physics. And it goes like this. We start with big stuff. We break it down. So, here's a button on my shirt. And then we look at it in a microscope. And we go smaller. And then there's the elements. And then there's the atoms. And then the atoms are made of electrons, protons, neutrons. In that moment, when we go from atom or atomic level to below atom to subatomic level, there's like a line right there. This is the world of big stuff physics, or we call it Newtonian physics because of Isaac Newton. But once we cross the line, we go into quantum physics. So quantum is like the world of small stuff. You can think of it that way. So we're observing the way matter behaves at a subatomic level. And a lot of what we're looking at are electrons. So if you can just imagine the solar system, like in the middle is the sun, and then there's these planets that, go around it. This is what an atom looks like. It has a center, a nucleus, and it has electrons that orbit around it. Okay, so what we're going to put a lot of emphasis on in these experiments is what these electrons are doing. Because ultimately what science has shown us is that our mind has the ability to influence and affect the behavior of those electrons. Whoa. Okay, so what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go quantum, we're going to go real tiny, and we're going to look at how matter behaves so that you can get an idea of what the heck this quantum physics stuff is about. Okay, so you're going to see how physical particles behave, like think of it like a BB if you were shooting a BB gun or something. And then we're going to talk about waves, which are energy, which are frequency. They are a wavelength. And if anyone has ever taken a rock and just thrown it into a pond, and then you see the rings that come out, they'll be like ring after ring after ring as they get bigger and bigger. Those are wavelengths. All right, so you already know how waves behave. And what's really cool too if you have a rock in one hand and a rock in the other hand, and you throw them both at the same time and they hit the water, the rings will start to come out towards each other. And when they hit, they interfere with each other. And they create this interference pattern. They like cancel each other out. And they create this pattern that's called interference pattern. So I just wanted to kind of highlight what we're about to do in the video. So roll the video.
As mentioned earlier, everything is made up of infinite potentiality, and the moment consciousness decides to create from that, creation takes place. The findings of physicist Thomas Young in his famous double-slit experiment helps to show this, and while doing so, sheds light on the quantum field and how our entire reality operates.
And here we are, the granddaddy of all quantum weirdness, the infamous double-slit experiment. To understand this experiment, we first need to see how particles, or little balls of matter, act. If we randomly shoot a small object, say a marble, at the screen, we see a pattern on the back wall where they went through the slit and hit. Now, if we add a second slit, we would expect to see a second band duplicated to the right. Now, let's look at waves. The waves hit the slit and radiate out, striking the back wall with the most intensity directly in line with the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference pattern on the back wall. Places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines, and where they cancel, there is nothing. So, when we throw things, that is, matter, through two slits, we get this, two bands of hits. And with waves, we get an interference pattern of many bands. Good so far. Now, let's go quantum. An electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Let's fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like the marble, a single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern! We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter, through. We get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It doesn't make sense. But physicists are clever. They thought, maybe those little balls are bouncing off each other and creating that pattern. So, they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they could interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits, and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle. But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits, and it goes through neither. And it goes through just one, and it goes through just the other. All of these possibilities are in superposition with each other. But physicists were completely baffled by this. So they decided to peek. and see which slit it actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit to see which one it went through and let it fly. But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined. When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. The electron decided to act differently, as though it was aware it was being watched.
How cool is that? Dr. Quantum. You can Google that video. I got it on YouTube. And I really think it's the most elegant explanation of that experiment, that double slit experiment, which is sort of the most, I don't want to say the most important one, but like the most well-known or talked about one, the sort of central hub of quantum physics and talking about it, and especially dealing with like new thought, kind of metaphysical, whatever labels you want to put to it. I'm really interested in understanding it from as many different angles as I can. You can YouTube and watch that video on your own. If you didn't get it and it didn't make sense, don't worry. Here's all I want you to get out of it, okay? The camera that was in there, the eyeball, it was sort of metaphor for us, in our eyes, and like cameras observing the world. The experiment concluded that they could not make a measurement or observation without affecting the outcome of the experiment. That's all it means. What they found is that they couldn't just see what it was, because the fact that they were there observing it changed the outcome of what it was. It changed what it was. It basically was saying our mind influenced the expression of these electrons. That, and you can... This is a touchy area to walk on too. This topic here, because a lot of people they hate it. They hate this talking point. They think that all these hippies are crazy because they talk about law of attraction and they cite the double slit experiment as the reason of why law of attraction exists. But there is some truth to it. There definitely is. The only point that comes out of the experiment, though, so as long as you don't take it too far. The point is that you cannot be apart from the world. The fact that you are there and observing and you are part of that system, you're influencing the outcome of it. It's saying that your mind influences the expression of these electrons. And so your mind, and if the electrons create the reality, as we saw here, then your mind has an influence on the expression of your reality. I mean, that's the one step away from it that makes, really left-brain analytical scientist-minded people just go nuts. I think, too, that those people, they just don't like the law of attraction stuff, which is cool. You don't have to love it. But you have to be open. You have to believe something different. You can't, be offended by somebody making an observation or having a belief that's different than yours. If you can back it up, then that's one thing, that's cool, but this is an area that is unknown, right? And the double slit experiment is a foundational one for you to understand. There's two more that I want to talk about with you, okay? The second one, I'll put on the screen here. It's by Earl Schrodinger. It's the Schrodinger wave equation. And it's some crazy mathematical algorithm. I don't get it, okay? I'm not super physics math geek. I don't pretend to be. I'm good at what I'm good at, and I let those guys be good at that. But you don't have to understand the math of it to understand the point. Here's the beauty of how simple it is. The wave equation basically says all possibilities exist in an infinite world. It's saying that the math is showing us that there whether something happens or doesn't, or it goes this way or that way or another way. There's an infinite amount of possibilities until we take a measurement. And what we're actually measuring, to be technical with you, is the electron, where it is in either time, like speed, where it is in space, or how fast it's moving. We can know one of them specifically, but know nothing about the other one. Or we can kind of halfway know both of them, or we can know all about the other one and nothing about this one. You don't have to get all of that. But Schrodinger's wave equation is saying this, that everything, all options exist in the infinite field of possibilities until we observe and make a measurement. The math says until we measure, then the infinite field collapses into one finite reality. So basically like this. The electron is spinning around the atom. It could be anywhere. It could be at any place at all at any time. But as soon as we make a measurement and we know where it is, then all the other realities and possibilities, they're gone. So in this wave equation, the wave collapses. That's how the language that they use. So it's infinite field, but as soon as we observe, as soon as we use our mind, as soon as we participate in that system, as soon as we bring our energy to it, our intention, our lens of the way we see the world world collapses into our finite reality. This is heavy. And I heard Deepak Chopra speak from stage once, and he said life is like a movie, like you would see at the movie theater. It looks like it's moving and it's fluid, but really it's a bunch of still moments. Because in the movie theater, it's a moving picture. It's a bunch of pictures that are all still pictures, but they run together so fast it looks like everything is moving, right? So our life is the same way. It's this flux of individual still moments of finite reality, and we go back into the field. And then we collapse the wave and come into reality. And then we go back into infinite field of possibilities. And because of our beliefs and our dogma and our experience and our memory and our wiring and all of the things that bring it all back into a physical world, they govern how that wave collapses to create a reality. So in reality, that sounds confusing. But basically what's happening, though, is that we're fluxing in and out, in and out. Who knows how many million times a second, right? In and out, which is why anything is possible and anything can happen for you. I truly believe that in all of my heart. One of my mentors always said, success is a decision away. You just have to say, I'm doing it. That's it. Period. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care at all about anything. It's happening. Damn it, I'm doing it. I don't care. It's a decision. Because when you flux into the infinite field and then you collapse the wave in a different way than you had been doing all of your life up to that point, and you make a decision, you say, no, I want that, and I'm going that direction, whoom, it all goes that way, and it all collapses and creates that finite reality that's based and influenced upon the way your mind brings the world and affects the expression of those electrons and creates your reality. It's crazy, isn't it? I feel crazy sometimes thinking that. Like, I wonder, are there other people out there as crazy as me? And I know you guys are just as crazy as me. Some of you more so. I got an email from, I think, Cliff, and he was talking about the suspending the conscious mind and letting the subconscious rip the time-space continuum to travel to Atlantis for Edgar Casey so that he could intuitively heal people and is available to all of us. And I'm like, dude, I was reading his email and just smiling ear to ear because, like, I don't know anything about that stuff, all right? I don't certainly pretend to know everything, but I don't know that it is true, and I don't know that it is not true. That's what I'm saying, that when we go down this rabbit hole of quantum theory and mechanics, it gets slippery, I guess. It can go in a lot of directions in a hurry that our conscious mind doesn't understand. And the one thing that I do think is that whatever those different realms, if they exist, let's just say that they do, those realms are beyond the comprehension of our mind. Like, I saw the movie Interstellar, and he went into this black hole, and like there was time and space, and gravity was a new way or a force for him to use, and it constructed this 3D world for him so his mind could understand what was going on, but it was really like this 5-dimensional plane or something. It's like, whoa, this is kind of trippy. This is really cool. But the idea was that the point I'm trying to make is that I don't think our mind can comprehend all that. I don't think our mind can understand it. I don't think we can wrap our head around that. So whether it exists or not, I don't think that's really the question. Here's the cool thing too, though, and it's math. Like, whether it's conscious or subconscious or energy or a different dimension, it's math that sort of bridges those worlds together. It's the science of physics that, when I say there's a line in the sand where we go from Newtonian physics to quantum physics, because it is a line in the sand. In the world of big Newtonian stuff, opposites attract. But in the small world of quantum things, likes attract. That's crazy. So it isn't that one is right and one is wrong. They both exist. They both coexist simultaneously. Like, how can that be? So your mind wants to make everything black and white. Your mind wants to wrap its head around and understand everything and figure it out and know for sure what it is. The earth is flat. Don't piss me off by saying the earth is round. I'm offended by that. No. It's a balance. It's the subtleties. It's the nuances. It's the blend of that. It's not the extremes. And so I hope I can just challenge you a little bit to maybe drop some of the staunch, beliefs and dosh everything else. Just be with it. Accept it. Be excited about it. This ready, willing alacrity to just dive into something new and unknown and just see where it goes. I'm not saying you can't believe what you believe. I'm just challenging you to maybe, lift the lid off of the box a little bit. That's all. So that's the wave. That's Schrodinger's wave equation. The last one, boy, I always call it non-local phenomena. And that might not be the exact name of the experiment, but this was cool. It was basically saying that in the quantum world, time and space don't exist. And here's what they did. Excuse me. They took 2 electrons. In a side note, electrons travel in pairs. Remember I said in the quantum world, likes attract? So electrons are negatively charged. So they travel together. They have the same charge. In the big world, opposites attract, positive, negative, magnets, and they go together. But, you get 2 negatives, they repel each other. But in this quantum world, boom, they go together. Weird, huh? But here's this is. I'm going to insert my opinion here. Okay, these electrons, they spin. One of them has a spin that is L. What's L? It just has to do with chirality. The way one of them spins one way and one spins the other way. Basically, is all you need to know. So they're spinning in different directions. It's almost like maybe that's the thing that makes them just a little bit different and glues them together. I don't know. I actually just had that thought last night when I was going for a walk. Just kind of thinking about what I was going to say to you guys today. But let's just shelve that for now. Here's what they did in the experiment. They took these 2 electrons and they separated them by the distance of the globe, all right, the Earth. One's on this side of the Earth, one's all the way on the other side of the Earth. And when they reversed the spin on one of them, the other one reversed its spin also to counterbalance and match it instantaneously. All right, it didn't take, a second It didn't take any, there was no time. The time and the distance, it wasn't like if I yell to somebody, the sound travels out of my mouth and it goes through space and then it gets to their ear and then they hear it. So there is that is affected by time and space. But in this quantum world, what this experiment showed was that instantly what happened to this one happened to that one. It's as if they knew. It's as if that there was information in the field and it was instantly everywhere, all the time, all-knowing, ever-present, omnipotent. I mean, to me, that sounds like what we call God. Scalar, scalar wave. But it basically, and the reason that I'm, kind of wrapping up this section with this experiment is because that part, that experiment said that time and space were not an influencing effector on the quantum world. And if our mind influences the quantum world, so let's go back to the experiments. If our mind influences the activity of the electrons and therefore the outcome of, the reality of what's going to happen, and Schrodinger showed us that our mind creates by taking from an infinite field and creating the collapsing the field and making the reality, and that time and space have nothing to do with it, then it's not so crazy or far-fetched to think that you're going to use your mind in a way that you're going to reinforce a frequency or an energy that is going to resonate and match and attract with something else out there in the world. See, this idea of frequency and energy, it's all subatomic. These thoughts, the idea of law of attraction is, you reap what you sow. What you think about, you bring about. What goes around comes around. You call it karma if you want to. But what energetic signals you're putting out to the world, bada boom, they're coming back to you. And this is the basis of, this stuff is all through Scripture. If you guys don't have, I built a course called Law of Attraction as Told Through Scripture. If you don't have that thing, you should get it. Even if you're not religious, because I am not a very religious person. I just found through different lectures, people were coming up to me and they're like, that thing you said, that was in the Bible. And I'd say, really? And I'd make a note and I'd write it down. That thing you said, here's that scripture. And I'd say, really? And I'd make a note of it. And I just compiled so many of these things that I thought was fascinating. And it gave me, it just gave me this like joyous, childlike discovery of seeing something that had been there in my life since I had been born, but seeing it through these new eyes. It's like seeing it through the eyes of a child. It was exciting. So I built an entire 6-hour seminar around that. It's a course. If you're interested, shoot me an email or something. But the idea here of and let me bring back the 10,000 year gene, that you have to understand that there are things that you can't change, all right? And in your wiring and in your instincts and your impulses that you've inherited, that have been passed down, that are in the memory and in the wiring, all right? But you have an unsurmountable impact and influence on your world. And it's not my opinion. It's not Dr. Ted says so. It's science. Science says so. Some of the greatest minds of our time say so. If you dig the quantum physics stuff, there's a great book called Dancing Wu Li Masters, W-U-L-I Wu Li. Terrific book. It gets pretty deep into it, but the beginning of it is superficial, and fun. And I think that everyone should own that book. But the next part that I want us to move into is neuroplasticity, okay? And the reason why is because it has everything to do with the way our brain is rewired. So let's go into neuroplasticity. So I won't go for, as long on this section, but the parts that I've gone through are important foundational pieces for you to understand this next part. And what I'm going to say to it just comes straight from literature. Like, go to Google Scholar. Do you guys know about Google Scholar? Instead of going to Google, like if you go to a regular google.com and you type in Google Scholar, it pulls up a different search engine that's all scholarly published journals and peer-reviewed, reports and papers and yada yada. It's just a cool resource to have. And if there's something that you're curious about, go look it up in Google Scholar, and you'll get the scholarly journals about it, from leaders in that field. But I'm talking about neuroplasticity. And it basically, it just means your brain can rewire and your brain can change. Think of it like somebody that had a stroke. And this happens, this is common. Somebody will have a stroke, and the part of their brain, in charge of speech, is it Broca's area? The cells will die. That part of their brain's dead. They stroke, they lose the blood flow and oxygen, the brain cells die. So now after the stroke, they can't talk. They try to talk. They're sharp, their mind still works, but the part that is in charge of talking, it doesn't work anymore. And they just... I watched my grandmother go through this, and she could just only say the word yellow. And she would try to talk to me, and she knew everything was going on, sharp as a tack. I can only imagine how frustrating it must be to be so smart. This woman was a genius, and so many things going on in your head, and you just can't get it out. And especially if you're used to being able to get it out. But she would try to talk, and she would say yellow. No, that's not it. And all she could say was yellow. But the point that I'm making is that people that have had these, these strokes and these parts of their brain die, they, through practice, the brain is resilient. It's incredible. It will create new wiring and new connections to bypass the areas that no longer work. Kind of like if you're used to taking a way to the office and the bridge gets washed out and you can't go that way anymore. Well, you go and you find a different road. You go, north a little bit and come back around. The brain will do this, and it will connect those areas of the brain using neurons that may have been doing something else and pull them away to do this. Or maybe growing new dendrites and maybe making new synapses and new connections so that these network, like the brain is so perplexing, and I don't care, how smart, I don't care what scientists or what laboratory or what research or what funding or prestigious university, nobody understands how the brain works completely. They have clues and they have ideas, and I've been in there. I've been in the cadaver labs. I've done the dissection. I spent 2 years in a gross anatomy lab, taking apart every little piece and studying and looking at it. And it's fascinating, and it's really helped me understand a lot about our wiring and our neurology, and really how it's the master system in our body, physically, secondary to our energetic system. But that's not the point right now. It's basically, I'm saying that neuroplasticity shows that things that you use, you reinforce, and you use it or lose it. Because if you don't lose something, then you don't use something, you lose it. The wiring doesn't reinforce, and it sort of dies away, and the thing that you are using gets rewired. So your brain is evolving and changing. It's ever changing. It's interesting too, as you grow, your frontal lobe, it like the first 2 years, it's like nothing. It isn't there. And you're governed by these areas of the anterior temporal pole and your limbic system. Basically, you're kind of in this me-centered, I want it, I want it now, me, mine, I only care about me, I don't understand consequences, I don't understand anyone else. And then as the frontal lobe grows, it begins to inhibit and dampen those more primitive type responses or impulses. That's why the soft spot up here is that way for the first 18 months, 24 months, because this whole front area of the brain is just growing, and it just grows like crazy in the first 2 years, up to the first 6 years, and our brainwave cycles per second, we kind of change our brainwave cycles. So, boy, I'm going to screw them up, alpha, beta, theta, delta. But basically, when you're born, you don't question anything. You're a sponge. You analyze the environment and you take it in as fact. Okay? From birth to 2, those things that happen to you are paramount. They're so very important for the expression of the rest of your life and the development of your character and your confidence and your beliefs, your emotional intelligence, the way the mechanisms that you use to interact with the world, all of that stuff, it's then. And a lot of times people look at babies and go, oh, they don't know, or it doesn't matter. That is not true. That is not true at all. Birth to 2 and birth to 6, really, that's about the time that we sort of switch on and we start becoming more independent, I guess. That's not the best word. Essentially what happens is we move to a different brainwave frequency. Like, you ever notice a little kid that can just pick up a car and a toy car and play with imaginary people and just have fun for hours? And I want to do that. I'm like, I wish I could be like that kid. I wish I could do that. But I can't. And it's because my brain is just operating differently. And it seems to be around that time is when that happens. So if you can envision from birth to 6 years old, you're just downloading like a sponge. You don't question, you don't judge, you don't reason. It's just all fact. You don't say, Uncle Larry calls me a loser. You don't go, I wonder if Uncle Larry is right. I don't think I'm a loser. I'm a pretty smart guy. You just go, loser, got it. Fact. And those experiences that take place, they are wired into your system, and they influence the way that you perceive the world as you grow into adulthood. Like, if you see mom and dad fight over money all the time, then when you're an adult now all of a sudden and you're like, I gotta make money, I gotta be successful, I gotta have financial freedom. But on this deep level, you're equating money with fighting and pain, then you're not going to get any money. And if you get anywhere near it, you're going to sabotage it. Right? If you were in a, even as an adult, if you were in a horrible breakup, and you just are still hurt and torn up by it on a deeper emotional level, and I'll call it the subconscious level. I know that's generic and I don't want it to be cheesy. We'll talk some more about that. But for now, just go with me. We'll call it subconscious. It's really part of your limbic brain and your amygdala. But, boy, I want to talk about that right now so bad. No, I got to stay on topic. If you are hurt in a relationship like that, then you may 6 months go by and you consciously think, I want to find a new partner. Okay, here, consciously I think, but the subconscious gets going, no you don't. You remember what happened last time? We got burned. It was bad. It really hurt. Maybe you forgot, but we didn't. We're going to make sure that we don't ever make yourself vulnerable and put in that position again. We don't ever want to go through that ever again. So you may think, I want a new relationship, and you go on a date and it's good, and you go on another one and it's going great. And this could be with anything in your life. Because something will come along and you will sabotage the whole thing. The subconscious brain will keep you safe. And if it's primal. It's part of that 10,000 year gene. See, Freud had an amazing quote. He talked about, I'll probably butcher it, but he said that the pain of life was too great for us to deal with without having palliative measures. So he basically said that we're going to develop coping mechanisms, right? Because it's just so intense. And there were 3 of them. Like, one was diverting, like it's not a big deal. And one was like blocking it out, like it never happened. But whatever the mechanisms are is irrelevant. We all go through these experiences. We all experience pain. We've all been through some sort of depression or loss, even if it's anger, rage or fear. We've all had those experiences. And it's important for you to understand that if you're trying to achieve the stuff that you want in your life, if you're trying to wire your brain in a certain way, you have to take into account the wiring that's in there. You have to ask yourself, why does the problem exist? Okay, you have to say, if I am on some subconscious level stuck in some of my old muck and mire, if I'm still playing out tapes like a skipped broken record back here, just playing it over and over and over and over and over, then what can I do about that? See, maybe right now trying to rush out into my life to hi-ho silver and get everything that I want, maybe the questions I should be asking are, all right, I know what the steps are for me to do to get what I want, so this is my intention. How can I clean up some of the counter-intention? How can I deal with some of the older things so that in the spirit of neuroplasticity, how am I rewiring the brain in a way that is supporting, that is harmonizing with some of these, like how can I clean up the stuff, the old things? How can I stop the background chatter and noise? Because think about this, okay? Just for a second, go with me here. Think conscious, subconscious, okay? You can consciously think of all the stuff you want, and these, old problems, for lack of better words, I'm talking about, they're on a subconscious level here, right? So, when you're conscious and you're thinking of your goals, and like Napoleon Hill said, you define your dream and you get a burning desire for it and you focus on it and you think about it and you are obsessed with it and you talk about it and you doodle about it and you're always thinking of it and you're always talking about it and you're always walking around thinking and planning, and it's just always on your mind. You're obsessed like a laser, your intention, you're just focused on that goal all the time, which is, not really very realistic in our world as we're bombarded with information everywhere. I think we see like 2,000 ads every day. We're just bombarded with stuff everywhere. But here's the point. The second you quit thinking about that goal, then it's gone. Like where does the thought go when you're not thinking of it anymore? Well, what I'm telling you is when you go to sleep at night and your conscious mind comes out of the equation, all of this subconscious stuff is still just going. So the conscious mind is powerful. It can override all of this stuff. If your goal is to get a red Ferrari, then you have to think about a red Ferrari all day long, every day. Not possible. You could be like, red Ferrari, red Ferrari, red Ferrari. What am I going to have for breakfast? Oh, crap, red Ferrari, red Ferrari, red Ferrari. What time is it? I need a red Ferrari. See, your mind is just going to go. It's not realistic to think that you can trap it into focusing and thinking on one thing, okay? So there are some powerful tools for you to clean this stuff up, and there's tons of them, okay? I'm sure that every one of you has experienced some tool, some procedure, some, music, some crystal, some, retreat, some quest, some spiritual journey, some book, some message, a treatment, a healer, the list goes on. And you guys, if you're here right now, I know you're cool. I know that you're hip to this, and I know that you're into this. So I want to share something that I think is a very powerful tool for you, and I'm going to show you a resource where you can get a cool thing. It's totally free to begin harnessing and harmonizing that wiring and that principle of neuroplasticity so that you are not only cleaning up old things, but creating new pathways as well. And before I jump into the next part here, I want to just talk a little bit about, I'm not going to go too into this here, but the idea of our physical body and our energetic body. Okay? That we are physical second, but we are energetic first. We are energetic in nature. We are vibrational in nature. That is the essence of who we are. I hear people say, I'm a spiritual being having a physical experience. Like when I die, I'm not done. I go somewhere else. And, whatever happens when you die, we don't know. I mean, I'm not going to be egomaniacal enough to say, I know what happens when we die. Let me tell you. I wouldn't dare do that. But I will say that we are a physical expression of that information that's in the field. All right? And when we have had experiences in our past where the field gets gunked up, like barnacles all over the bottom of a boat, a ship that doesn't let it flow through the water the way that it's designed to. Like when you have pain of the past and gunk and limiting beliefs, and you've wired yourself because you failed and failed and failed, and you're wired that way. Like, I'm not going to try anything because I'll just fail again. Like, I'm not going to waste and expend precious energy in creating enzymes in my body to carry out some wild rabbit chase because I'm going to fail. So I'll just play small. See, if you're wired that way, then first, you're never going to get the things that you want in life, but you're not going to be able to experience the pinnacle of fulfillment that I think that you want. I mean, I don't be brass enough to tell you what you want, but we're all striving for that, and it's a continuum. There's never a finish line, It's not like, oh, I'm happy now. You're like a flower. You're either growing or you're dying. There's no flower that hits cruise control and coasts its way in, right? That doesn't exist. So there are tools, is basically what I'm saying, that work in concert with your concept of neuroplasticity, so that you can begin to clean up the old things, and then through understanding the rules through the 10,000-year gene, and then how your mind impacts your reality moving forward through quantum physics, you have an awesome foundation here to start kicking ass, okay? So this next section is called Brainwave Entrainment. Okay, so with Brainwave Entrainment, I want you to go into... I tried to, just plant a seed here. We're moving from physical into energetic. So we're going to talk about energy. We're going to talk about waves here for a second. And get that picture in your mind again of when you take the rock and throw it in the pond and those waves that come out. Because if you throw two of them at the same time, they come together and they interfere with each other, and they create an interference pattern. So the new pattern that comes out of those two mingling is original. It's a new thing. It's a third thing. Like if the rock, if I threw a huge rock in this hand and a small one in that hand, the wave size is going to be different. But when they come together and they interfere with each other, it's going to create a third wavelength, a third frequency. And in the healing world, there's a therapy that's called interferential therapy. And what they do is they put these sticky pads on your back or wherever you're hurting, and they run current from one pad to the other. And what they usually do is there's like 4 of them here, but they connect diagonally. So if you imagine an X right here, so there's a current running this way, and there's a current running this way. And the reason that they call it interferential therapy is because one of them is generating an energetic frequency, the other one is creating a frequency, and they interfere with each other. Interferential therapy. They interfere and they generate a new frequency that is the therapeutic frequency. It is the therapy. It's the value that brings a therapeutic value to the person. That's where the treatment is applied. It's not from this current or this current. It's from the third current that's created from the interferential. Okay, so if you guys have ever gotten into brainwave entrainment audios, or they call it hemisync or holosync, it's the same principle here. And you have to listen to these things in headphones. And it's the same reason why. Because on one channel, they're going to play a certain frequency, and in the other channel, it will be a different frequency. And as these two things come into your ears, and they go into your mind and in your brain, they will interfere with each other, generating a third frequency that is the therapeutic one, that brings you the value that you're looking for. So if you are listening to a brainwave entrainment on a stereo or something, it's not going to work. And if you are, if you listen to it on your TV, it ain't going to work. Because it has to be closed off, so the only thing coming into this side of the brain is a specific frequency, and a different one over here. That sounds cool. La 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 la. So that they interfere and create the thing that we're going for. So whatever Hertzian wave that your brainwave entrainment audio is, touting to create for you. So here's the tool that I want to share with you. And it is from a good friend of mine. It's a gal who I talk to every week in a group. She's part of my mastermind group. And I'm a big believer in having mentors and being a mentor. So you spend time with people above you. You spend time with people equal to where you are. This is my mastermind. And then you spend time being a mentor to people below you. Not below you, but maybe not as far along in the path. I know a little bit more than them, and you can turn around and help them out. So, this woman, her name is Cindy, Reverend Cindy Krupp. She's been a good friend of mine now for a few years. I met her at a seminar. I was up on stage talking. I came off stage, and she just ran up to me, and she's like, "You're a beam of light," and it's like, let's hang out. And this lady was being very, nice to me because she's the beam of light, all right? I'm serious when I say it. I'm not trying to placate her, blow hot air up her skirt or something. She is the bomb. She's the bomb.com. She's the real deal. And what Cindy does, she, over the last year and a half, I think, it was December of 2014, she started every day writing a letter to God. Or to, if you don't like the word God, whatever, put in universe or energy or nature. Just understanding that there are powers greater than you that you're sort of bowing, giving a nod to. But she would write her letters to God. She'd say, "Dear God, let me be open to learn what I need to see." I think a lot of times she just calls it source. She's a source. Guide me, show me what's important. Who do I need to help? How can I serve? What can I do? Give me the scoop. And when she would write the intention and then go inward and be quiet, she would get these downloads. Stuff would just come to her. And she began to, the way that I can explain it in my mind, she began to operate in a world that was 1 foot in the physical and 1 foot in the energy. 1 foot in the vibrational essence of everything. And I really think it's because of the amount of personal power that this woman has in her life and her ability to command her own personal power. Carlos Castaneda wrote about this a lot in the teachings of Don Juan, the Yaqui Indian sorcerer. Don Juan would teach these people to become warriors. And not warriors with, guns and spears and knives, but warriors of the world and of energy and intention. And it was about commanding and harnessing their power and finding the areas where the power was leaking so that they were able to transcend and experience energy and perceive it directly. And if you've never read Carlos Castaneda, you should. It's pretty fantastic. He has a whole volume of books. I've read all of them several times. But I liken what Cindy has gone through to some of the things I have read in these books. So the thing that I want you to do is I want you to get some exposure to Cindy, because what she has done is taken a brainwave entrainment audio. So she has a good friend named Jeffrey Gignac. I don't know him, but I just know him through her. He creates the brainwave entrainment audios that she uses, and as she listens to them, she gets her source connection and whatever information is to be downloaded. And she, go with me here, okay? Because at first I was like, this sounds crazy. What are you talking about? She, for lack of better words, encodes that message or energy frequency or intention or whatever word you want to use, and puts it into the audio, so that as you are listening with the headphones and doing the brainwave entrainment audio, that it's not just a brainwave entrainment that creates an interference pattern and generates a third frequency that's therapeutic for you. Yes, it is that. And it's this like enveloping, caressing, nurturing, snuggling presence. It's a download is what it is. It's a shortcut for you and for me to be able to access the information and downloads that she gets in these moments of quiet introspection. She has figured out a way to have one foot in the physical world and one in the energetic world, and to infuse those brainwave entrainment audios with that message and with that programming from source. She programs the audio with the message from source. She gets the download and she sticks her foot over into the energetic world and builds that connection. And you can have that. That is my, I guess, my wish for you. Part of me wants something for you, but I'm telling you, do it. Okay? And I'm going to show you how to do it right now. And it's free to do, okay? So I'm going to jump over to the computer and I'm going to show you exactly what to do. You're going to click the link to the side of the video here that says connect to source. And when you click the button, you're going to go right through everything I'm about to show you here, okay? So let's go do it.
Okay, so we're at the computer, and after you click the connect to source button right there, you're going to land on this page. So you have to click the connect to source now button before you can get here, okay? So please click the button and you're going to land on this page. Now when you get here, this is kind of like a traditional opt-in page. Like you're going to get a free gift and you just have to put in your email address. So what you see right here is a picture and it's an audio interview. So you can actually click the play button and begin playing the interview and listening to it. Don't do that because, I mean, you can if you want. You can listen to Reverend Cindy speak with Jeffrey Gignac, who's the creator of the audios that she uses. But the interview is on the next page. That's why I'm saying don't watch it right now. Go ahead, come down here, click free instant access. Let's put in your email and your name, and then you just click download, and it's going to bring you to a sort of thank you page of sorts. So this is where I want you guys to hang out, okay? And you have to get here by clicking that button on the webinar that says connect to source now. So do it. When you get to this point here, this is where the fun part starts. So I'm just giving you a little nugget. I'm teasing you a little bit, really. I want you to come in here and begin to read her story and begin to find out a little bit more about this crazy, cool concept that she's doing. I've never heard anyone doing this before. And quite frankly, the things that I've heard, the testimonials, is what made me jump in and start using her base program called Clean Sweep. And it's terrific. I mean, I'm seriously telling you that I'm not even going to tell you my experience or how I feel. I'm just telling you to do it. It's very gracious of her to let us have this for free, and it would be rude to not do it. That's a joke, really. But seriously, do it, okay? Get your hands on this. So watch, here's what we do. There's a little introduction from her in this area, and when we scroll down, there's that same interview. So it's important that you listen to this, because it's her explaining everything. Now, it's written as well, but this is where you're going to get a lot of the reasons behind the backstory and kind of get into Cindy's mind a little bit before, I don't necessarily want you to take my word for it. I want you to do your due diligence and listen to her. Feel when she speaks. You can feel it. You know that there's something about this woman. So you can listen to her here. And then right down here, see these, the blue lines here. I mean, it's not very noticeable. So that's why I wanted to kind of take you on a tour here and show you. But you'll just click that button and it automatically starts a download. So it's downloading right to my computer. Now remember, this audio, it's an MP3 audio file. You need to listen to it with headphones on. We talked about this just a minute ago. So make sure you get that downloaded and then get it onto some player or way for you to listen with headphones. I also want you to download the manual. It's the source programming manual. And I just click the link. It's immediately opening or downloading. I'm actually going to open the manual too, because with talking with Cindy, she said she built the manual because people were just confused about what the first step was, what the second step was, and then ultimately what their next steps were. So she wrote this manual. And if you see in the table of contents here, it's going to talk about what the programming is, you know, how it happened, and then explain some of the different, what I'm not even sure the right word, but the source downloads or information from source that she programs into each one of these audios. And you can see there's an extensive list of them here. Let's go. And so that manual is there for you to read as well. Let's pull up that clean sweep audio real quick. It's going to be cranky for me. I was just going to see maybe how long it was. I think it's about 15 minutes long or so. So let's jump back here. This was originally the first page. After you put your email address in, you landed here. All you do is scroll down a little bit, and then there are your two links right there. So as you keep scrolling down, you're going to read more, you're going to learn more. Basically, the clean sweep audio that you get as the gift is the basis of it's like the kingpin. It's like the boss audio. And so the other audios that you are available to purchase, if you decide you want to come back later and to dive deeper into this. Let's look up here at the top, and this is kind of her website store kind of area where you can look at these things. So we could go here to Brainwave Entrainment Collection or Chakra Collection, and this one is really sweet. You can read about each of the audios, and there's a list of them down here. So you can buy them individually if you want, or there's a package. You can see down here in the bottom corner. They're all $15 a piece, but you can get all of them for $50. I'm not trying to be pushy or anything either. If you don't dig it, that's why you get a freebie. You can try it out, because the people that have done that have just been flabbergasted. Just jaw like, oh my goodness, what is up with this? And I tell you, one of the things that really got my attention was a testimonial from one of Cindy's, just one of her tribe. And it's somebody who said, it was a man, so he's kind of like left brain analytical. He's like, I've done all kinds of stuff. I've done everything, from here to the moon. And I don't know why this is different, but it is. I'm not sure why this works, but it works. And I'm confused and I don't understand it and I want to know, but it's like I'm okay with not knowing because the way I feel is so incredible. And, I think that there's a large segment of people out there that may be doubters. Maybe that's not the best word, but people that just question it. They want to know why. They want to understand how it works. What I'm telling you is, just for a moment, I'm not telling you that's wrong. I'm saying just suspend that and let yourself, instead of trying to in your head know and intellectualize and understand the concept, get out of your head, get into your heart, and let yourself feel what this is like. Allow yourself just that opportunity. Give yourself permission to, put the old baggage down and experience this in a way that's raw and authentic, that comes from inside of you. It's like the source inside of you trying to reach the source outside of you. If you can, I wish I had a drawing, but this is all you do. Okay, so again, let me just go back to where we were. You're going to land on this page that says Source Programming Gifts. You're going to listen to the interview of her talking about how she gets these downloads from Source and programs that information into these audios. You're going to download your audio here and your manual here, and then you're off to the races. Everything else will be fun. So you can read about her Brainwave Entrainment collection. You can read about her chakra collection. You can even read about her newest venture called Phoenix. And I'll click on it just so you kind of see it, but I'm not going to talk about it. You'll have to listen to her interview with Adam King, who's the creator of InnerEden.com. Man, this stuff is crazy cool. And I happen to know both of them too. So I'm plugging it for sure. These guys are wonderful, and this work they're doing is wonderful. So I don't want to throw too many things at you. Just let yourself get the Source programming audio called Clean Sweep and get the manual, listen to the audio interview, and just dive into it. Just make a commitment to yourself. You know, obviously I'm not going to be there to check to see, but this is about you investing in yourself and kind of doubling down on your brain. You know, I kind of, I just said investing in yourself. It drives me crazy when people tell me to invest in myself, because usually they're just trying to sell me some crap. And then I just said it right there. So I'm going to call myself out on it. But I really do believe in the concept. I really do believe that if we are going to, well, we're always growing and expanding. We're creative beings by nature. And so the very essence of us living a good life is continuing to learn and grow and explore like a child on an adventure, seeing the world through these eyes that are new, that are full of renewed sense of connection and hope and love and joy and bliss and abundance and happiness and quietness and tranquility and intimacy and passion and the feeling of birth of something new, a new chapter, a new beginning, that every day is a brand new day. And right now in this moment, you have the ability, as the wave equation showed us, we flux into infinite possibilities. So let yourself spend some time listening to these brainwave entrainments while you're fluxing into that infinite field. And don't worry, you're going to come back to finite reality. That's the law. Or at least I think. I don't know. What if your vibration was so high you just poof and you disappeared off of the earth or something? That would be crazy. Maybe that's what spontaneous combustion is. But totally going off track. Sorry. This is what I want you to do. Click the Connect to Source Now button. Go to the page and enter your email. And once you get there, you'll land on this page right here. You'll scroll down just a bit. You'll see the audio interview, and you'll see the 2 links for you to click. That's all there is to it. Okay, I'm going to jump back to the chair.
All right. How about that, guys? How far are we into this now? Like 5 hours? I wanted to keep it short, so believe it or not, this is short. But I hope that you guys have gotten a lot out of this. Please, please, please watch the replay. I'm going to put it up for a few days. I'm going to leave some area. I'm going to try to put an area where you can leave some comments or things about it. I want to hear from you too. So reach out to me. You can email me at Dr. Ted, which is DRTED, at drmortar.com. That's where all my emails come from, so you can just reply to one of my emails if you want. Let me know what you thought. What were your aha moments? Did anything challenge you? Are there some steps that you're going to take differently now? You know, what kind of things might you do now that you're aware of that 10,000-year gene so that you can harmonize with it? What are some things that are going to make your life different? Please give me some feedback and let me know your opinion and maybe there are things that you wanted me to talk more about, because I'm going to read every single one of them. And give me a week, and we're going to do another one of these anyway. So I am so very thankful to be able to be here with you, even though I'm sitting in a room staring at a camera. You guys, like, in my mind, you're all here with me. And what we've learned is that the mind transcends time and space. So you are here with me, and I'm here with you. That we are one, and that in my journey to, altruistically help the world versus like selfishly help myself, I know that the way that I help myself is by helping others, and that the proportion to things that I receive blessings for in my life is exactly related to the amount of things that I can give and share. Selfishly, I love these things because this is how I learn. I learn by talking and by teaching. You can only teach something if you know it. So maybe you guys could take some of these lessons and have a fun conversation with them over coffee with a friend or something. Talk about them and talk through them and get something going. I don't know. But I want to just end with one thing. I really want you guys, again, why do I say that? Who cares what I want? It's what you want. We've laid down a lot of stuff. More importantly, I hope you do something with it. Every single one of you needs to get that clean sweep audio from Cindy. It's free, all right? And you all need to listen to it. It's just simple. It's just easy. Just do it, all right? Do it. Make a decision. Say, I'm doing it. I'm doing it now. And you just get it done. I leave you with this last thought. There's nothing but love. I love you, and you are love, and I am love. It's great. Right now, everything is like fading away. My hair is standing up on my arms. That in this moment, right now, as you and I are connecting, we are both understanding that we're the same, and that the things that I experience, they're no different than the things you do. The people and places are different, but the way that we all feel is the common denominator. Those emotions, those feelings, those experiences, they're all influenced by you and your mind and your intention. So get clear about what it is that you want. Let go of the outcome and just be in a state of love. Love you guys.